Welcome back to the best of the best in horror 2019 through 2020. This list looks at the best in horror movies from October 1st of 2019 through September 30th, 2020. Let's get going. It's the official Best of Horror 2019-2020 countdown on ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. I want to urge you guys to give this video a like, share it with your buddies across the web, click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. If you're in the Chicago area and love horror, you have no excuse not to head out to the Chi-Town Movies Drive-In. The Music Box of Horrors at the Drive-In presents 31 nights of horror presented every day in October. There will be late shows Sunday through Thursday and double features every Friday and Saturday night. In addition, every weekend is themed: Grindhouse Fridays, Rip-Off Saturdays, and Sequel Sundays. Tonight, they're playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Most people haven't seen it on the big screen, so this is a real treat. Look below for a link to the schedule, where to get tickets, and the directions to this awesome horror event. Let's get going with the countdown. Coming in at number 28 is Sea Fever. Released on April 14th, 2020, it's available on digital download and on demand from Dust. Sea Fever was directed and written by Neasa Hardiman. Rust Creek's Hermione Kornfeld stars as Soyben, a standoffish marine biologist who prefers to keep her nose in books rather than socialize with her teammates in the lab. When she has a chance for some real-world experience, she jumps into it and leaves on an Irish fishing trawler to study in the field. Soyben feels alienated from the crew, led by husband and wife captains Freya and Gerard, played by Connie Nielsen and Doug Ray Scott. But soon her experience is needed when the captain decides to go off course and they find themselves attacked by what looks to be some kind of iridescent giant squid from the depths below. With the tentacles eating into the hull of the boat, they attempt to detach themselves from the monster's grip, but even after they get free, the sea beast seems to have laid some kind of eggs in the ship's water system, causing the crew to become infected with a parasite one by one as the ship drifts aimlessly in the middle of the ocean. I love the little details Sea Fever decides to focus on. The fact that Soyben is immediately made an outcast once she reveals she is a redhead just makes the whole thing feel like the filmmaker Neasa Hardiman has done her homework. Redheads are considered unlucky aboard a ship, you know. There are a lot of clever little nuances that are added to the characters of Soyben, Freya, Gerard, and even smaller players in the crew. It makes this film feel more whole and well thought out from a character perspective. It makes for a much richer experience to get to know this crew, much in the way Cameron does with the Marines in Aliens and the crew in The Abyss, or Carpenter did with the guys in The Thing. Speaking of those two movies, Sea Fever definitely feels derivative of both Carpenter's The Thing with the virus angle and the sea monster trend in the 90s, which included The Abyss, Deep Star 6, Sphere, Leviathan, and scores of other films. Sea Fever feels right at home with those films, which highlight that you don't have to go into deep space to find alien life. There's even a scene where Soyben must test all of the crew to see if they are infected that feels a little bit too on the nose with The Thing for me. While Carpenter's film cranked the dial on paranoia to the max, this one feels tossed in for some intrigue, and is one of the few scenes that really didn't work for me in Sea Fever. Still, I feel Neasa Hardiman excels in creating a soulful mood. Both Hardiman and actress Kornfeld make Soyben utterly likable, and you root for her to succeed in isolating the threat and getting out alive. This makes for a film that is easy to get comfortable with, and less in your face than the films it is derived from, like The Thing and The Abyss, but nonetheless effective in the message it's trying to communicate. It takes its time to observe the wonders of the ocean as well as the threats, and even during times of crisis, there's something beautiful about this monster from below. The special effects are strong and used sparingly, but not over the top. Part deft character study, part meditative sea trip, and part maritime monster flick. Sea Fever is a unique film that makes up for its lack of bombast by delivering solid, gorgeous cinema. Sea Fever is a film made with a measured hand, and while that might have held back in giving it the urgency it needs in the climax, it still delivers a powerful story and some very thrilling scenes. Another marine creature feature released this year is Sweetheart. It was released on October 15th, 2019, and it's available on digital download and on demand, as well as streaming on Netflix. A young woman, played by Kiersey Clemons, washes ashore on a desert island with nothing but a few suitcases and the body of one of her shipmates who didn't survive the crash. As she gets accustomed to her new surroundings, she begins to notice something predatory lurking around in the dark. Turns out a monster surfaces from the ocean every night to feed, and now that it's eaten the dead bodies littered on the beach, it's coming for her. On the surface, Sweetheart is a simple mix of Castaway and The Creature of the Black Lagoon. Much of this film is silent. We know nothing about this woman other than the fact that she is spunky and resourceful. When problems surface, she handles them directly, and she's someone to root for and hope that she finds some kind of rescue. It isn't until about the halfway point, after we've been introduced to the monster and the woman who has fought it off a few times, that the underlying themes begin to show through. A specific line about not being believed when one is attacked suggests that the woman has experienced this type of assault before. The film becomes not only a thinly veiled metaphor for physical or sexual threat, it's vague enough for you to take your pick, but also for the doubt one faces while trying to tell others about the assault. It becomes a story about a woman who is attacked, and then, because there is no evidence other than the woman's word, she's not believed. It made for the struggle all the more interesting, and this little monster from the sea movie became much, much more. Kiersey Clemons is great as the castaway woman against all odds. We experience everything through her eyes. With her sheer will to survive, Clemons gives this film the spirit it needs, and the film never lags while she's on camera. My only real complaint about Sweetheart is about the music. It's a retro synth style that I felt proved to be invasive rather than elevating. Throughout the film, the music pulled me out of the story. It seemed the purpose was to give off an alien mood, but it distracted me more than anything else. Sweetheart's pace never really lets up and picks up in intensity towards the end. The monster itself is a combination of practical and CG effects. Filmmaker J.D. Dillard keeps its screen time minimal and edited so that we only see it in quick clips. The more the monster is seen, the less convincing it is. But for the most part, it's kept in darkness and obscured by camera angles. The creature actually resembles the design of the original alien from Predator, if you've seen any behind-the-scenes clips from that film. It's threatening, but the extended head makes it look a little goofy when the camera lingers on it for too long. Sweetheart's metaphor is pretty easy to see, but it never really feels preachy. This is simple storytelling and filmmaking, but ultimately enchanting in its simplicity. That'll be it for today. Check back in tomorrow for my next pick on the countdown. Be sure to chime in down in the comments and let me know what you think of these films, how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am, or you can counter with your own list. If you like this video, please pound that thumbs up button. Share this video with your social media addicted pals. If you're looking for a list of these films, check out mlmillerwrites.com for written reviews as well as countdown picks. Don't forget I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks that you should look for. GRAVETRANCERS is out right now in most comic shops, and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, will be out late in November, early December, from Diamond Order Code APR 201712. And be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for alerts to be the first to see my future videos. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. Live the life that you are meant to side.